Have you ever driven somewhere, only to arrive and realize you don't remember most of the trip? Or maybe you've been in a conversation, but your mind was miles away, thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. This kind of autopilot living is incredibly common, and it points to something we often overlook in our daily lives: awareness. In this video, we're going to explore what awareness really is, why it matters, how it shapes our lives mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and most importantly, how we can cultivate more of it. Let's start simple. Awareness is the ability to be present, to fully notice what's happening inside us and around us in this very moment. It's being conscious of your thoughts, feelings, sensations, surroundings, and reactions, without immediately judging or running from them. But awareness is not just about noticing, it is also understanding. When you're aware, you're not just thinking, you're observing the thinker. You're stepping back enough to recognize that you have thoughts and emotions, but you are not your thoughts and emotions. Awareness acts like a mirror. It doesn't distort, it just reflects. And in that reflection, we gain insight. We start to see the patterns, the habits, and even the unconscious beliefs driving our behavior. Awareness then becomes the first step toward change. In today's world, awareness is constantly under attack. Our attention is pulled in 1,000 directions: notifications, deadlines, conversations, anxieties. Our lives are noisy, fast, and demanding. And let's be honest, distraction can feel easier than presence. Sometimes, we even choose to disconnect, because being present means we have to face discomfort, pain, boredom, or truth. And that can be scary. But here's the thing, when we numb ourselves to avoid the hard stuff, we also miss the good stuff. Connection, inspiration, gratitude, all of these exist in the present moment, right where awareness lives. Lack of awareness leads to reactive living. We act out of habit, fear, or stress. We say things we don't mean, we repeat mistakes, and we stay stuck in loops we don't understand. Without awareness, it's like trying to drive in fog. You can move, but you don't really see where you're going. Now, let's talk about how awareness affects our mental and emotional well-being. When we're not aware, our minds often default to the past or the future. We replay regrets, dwell on failures, or worry about what could go wrong. This kind of mental time travel creates anxiety, depression, and emotional exhaustion. But when we become aware of our thoughts and feelings, without getting swept up in them, we create space. We can observe, I'm feeling anxious, instead of being consumed by that anxiety. We can say, that's a judgmental thought, instead of letting it define us. Awareness turns the mind into a landscape we can navigate, rather than a storm we're trapped in. It builds resilience. It teaches us how to respond, instead of just react. Practices like mindfulness and meditation help cultivate this kind of self-awareness. Even simple breathing exercises or intentional pauses during the day can make a big difference. Over time, this awareness becomes a kind of superpower, a way to live with more clarity, stability, and peace. Now let's zoom out even further, because awareness is not just about what's going on in our minds. It's also deeply connected to our spiritual lives. Every spiritual tradition, from Buddhism to Christianity to philosophical wisdom, teaches the value of being present. Because awareness connects us to the sacred. It opens the door to wonder, stillness, and awe. When we're fully aware, truly present, we often experience a sense of interconnectedness. We feel more tuned into the natural world, to other people, and even to something larger than ourselves. Whether you call that God, the universe, spirit, or simply love, it's an awareness that is palpable. Awareness also fosters compassion. When we become more conscious of our own struggles, pain, and imperfections, we become more empathetic toward others. We listen better, judge less, and love deeper. So in many ways, awareness is both the path and the destination of spiritual growth. It brings us back to what matters. It reminds us that we are here, alive, and part of something infinitely beautiful. So the question is, how do we bring more awareness into our lives? It starts with small steps. Here are a few practices you can try. Pause. Set a few moments aside each day to just breathe. Notice your breath, your body, your surroundings. Ask yourself throughout the day, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Am I present? Slow down. Try doing one thing at a time, fully. Whether it's eating, walking, or talking to someone, give it your full attention. Listen, not just to others, but to yourself, your body, your intuition, your inner voice. The more you practice awareness, the more natural it becomes. You start to catch yourself in moments of distraction or reactivity, and you gently guide yourself back to the moment. You stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. So, why does awareness matter? Because it's how we reclaim our lives. It's how we stop missing the moments that make life meaningful. It's how we understand ourselves, connect with others, and touch the deeper truths that words can't fully explain. Awareness is simple, but it's not always easy. It requires presence and patience. But most of all, it requires the courage to be here and now.